Chuck Feeney was a billionaire. Was is the operative word here. Having grown up in poverty, Feeney made billions of dollars from his duty-free shopping group and then made it his life's mission to secretly give it all away to worthwhile causes. Stay tuned for his incredible story. Born into the Great Depression, Chuck Feeney was born to a working-class family of Irish origin in New Jersey in 1931. Growing up when America was in the grip of the Great Depression was tough, but Feeney's entrepreneurial spirit shone through early. For example, before he reached double figures, he'd spend time when he wasn't in school shoveling snow for people to bring some extra money into the family kitty. A college education. Like many poor kids looking for an adventure, Feeney joined the military as soon as he was able to. He served in the Air Force, and this indirectly gave him his big break in life. Any soldier who'd served in the military at that time could receive a free college education, and Feeney took advantage of this GI Bill and won a place at Cornell University. He managed to combine studying with earning though and created a thriving sandwich business. The DFS Group is born. Noticing a gap in the market for duty-free goods, in 1960 Feeney founded what was to become the DFS Group with his business partner Robert Miller. They began marketing duty-free cars and liquor to U.S. military and Navy personnel. The Hong Kong-based enterprise was initially called Tourist International and Cars International, but was later renamed Duty Free Shoppers, DFS. At the time, duty-free shopping was largely unheard of. Global expansion. DFS opened its first duty-free airport store at Hong Kong's Kai Tak Airport in 1961. More stores then followed in Honolulu and destinations frequented by high-spending Japanese tourists. 10 years later, the empire had opened branches across North America and expanded further into Asia. As a result of the brand's success and additional personal investments, by the late 70s Feeney was a millionaire many times over. When enough is enough. Feeney's vast wealth had started to make him feel uncomfortable, though. He had more money than he needed to take care of himself and his family, and he began researching how he could use it for the greater good. He set up the Atlantic Philanthropies Foundation in 1982 with $5 million. 2 years later, after making sure his family's needs were covered, he transferred his entire fortune, thought to be up to $1 billion, into the foundation. Philanthropy takes off. The transfer of funds from Feeny to the foundation was done in total secrecy. Even his partners in the DFS Group were unaware of it. The foundation itself was also run completely anonymously. Benefactors of the foundation were not allowed to discuss who they had received their grants from. Despite having been instrumental in funding many buildings, Feeney's name wasn't given to any of them. No publicity at all was given to his good works. Cornell University. First to benefit. The GI Bill made it possible for Feeney to go to university. He'd always been grateful for his time at Cornell University and its role in shaping his life. Consequently, Cornell received Atlantic's first ever grant of $7 million to establish the Cornell tradition. This is a scholarship and work-study program that recognizes and rewards outstanding undergraduates. Over 5,300 students have benefited from the scheme over the years. Limerick gets a university. On his business travels, Feeny always looked out for causes that his foundation could benefit. As an Irish American, he felt close ties to Ireland and was keen to give back to his ancestral homeland. With a strong belief in the power of education, his first major Irish gift was $14.9 million to the National Institute of Higher Education in Limerick. He also developed ties between the institution and Cornell University, which helped it become the University of Limerick. LVMH buys into DFS. In the late 1990s, when Feeny was in his 60s, he sold a share of the DFS Group to LVMH, the luxury goods manufacturer behind world-famous brands such as Louis Vuitton. He reportedly received $1.7 billion for his stake, and this was all paid into the Atlantic Philanthropies Foundation. This cash injection vastly increased the scope of what the foundation could achieve, and Feeny began looking for even more ambitious projects to fund. Reversing Ireland's brain drain. Feeny recognized that, to prosper, Ireland needed to stop its talent from moving abroad and attract foreign talent. For the first time his foundation partnered with the government. The foundation and the Irish government collaborated on the Programme for Research in Third-Level Institutions, PRTLI, creating new laboratories, computer facilities and research libraries. The $177 million provided by the foundation helped make Ireland one of the world's most highly educated countries. Supporting peace in Northern Ireland. Feeny was very disturbed by the sectarian violence in Northern Ireland, and between 1991 and 2014 his foundation invested nearly $570 million in Northern Ireland. This money was primarily put towards supporting the peace process, human rights and programs to improve people's lives. The foundation also partnered with the government to create a support program for university research to strengthen the university system. Making good in Vietnam. Feeny also wanted to help the Vietnamese, a people he felt had suffered as a result of the Vietnam War. Over the years his foundation has invested $381.5 million in improving Vietnam's public health system and boosting the resources of its libraries and universities. It also put its weight behind a countrywide anti-smoking campaign and an initiative that led to a law making it illegal for motorcycle riders not to wear helmets. Building bridges in Cuba. Cuba had one of the best healthcare systems in the world, but in the early 2000s it was suffering badly from lack of resources. Over time the foundation has injected over $66 million into the country. This has largely gone toward creating better health outcomes, but some has paid for work that helped improve relations between Cuba and the United States. This was seen as instrumental in the Obama administration re-establishing diplomatic and commercial ties with Cuba. Making a mark in South Africa. The foundation saw the end of apartheid rule in South Africa as an opportunity to help heal the wounds of years of inequality. Its contributions helped aspiring young black South African attorneys get law degrees in the new multiracial constitutional court, and it boosted health services and improved research facilities at historically disadvantaged higher education institutions. By 2015, nearly $357 million has been spent on improving the lives of the country's least advantaged. Australia wins Feeny over. Feeny was also drawn to Australia, as he felt it had many similarities with Ireland. He could see the talent in the country was undervalued. Over time the foundation distributed grants to 23 organizations across Queensland, Victoria, New South Wales and Tasmania, and co-funded the creation of 8 new research institutes. Between 1998 and 2016, Atlantic invested $368 million in expanding Australia's biomed research, bolstering higher education and advancing social equity. Bermuda wasn't just a base. The foundation is based in Bermuda, but it doesn't just operate from here. It also invested heavily in the island. Between 1992 and 2013 the foundation spent over $28 million in Bermuda. It supported local groups working to address disparities in health, education, public safety and criminal justice. Giving back to America. The GI Bill had led Feeny to be the first of his family to go to college. He was forever grateful for the step up this gave him, and so a large bulk of foundation grants in the United States were given over to reducing inequalities in the education system. There were also substantial funds provided for life-saving medical research, expanding access to high-quality healthcare and enabling older adults to live well and continue to be able to make meaningful contributions to society. Giving while living. Giving while living was the backbone behind all of Feeney's philanthropy. He wanted to give large amounts of money that would quickly show tangible results. It was only in 1999, however, that he began to spell out to the foundation that he wanted it to spend all the money and have made its final grants before the end of 2016, when he turned 85. Consequently, the charitable donations increased in size and scope as this date grew nearer. The final big bets. In 2015 the foundation began funding what it termed its final big bets. This became known as the Atlantic Fellows Program. It focused on advancing racial equity, social equity, brain health, global inequality and health equity. The University of California, San Francisco and Trinity College Dublin, for example, jointly received $178 million to create the Global Brain Health Institute, whose goal is to dramatically reduce the number of people who develop dementia. An incredible legacy. Chuck Feeney is now in his 80s and said to be living a quiet life in a rented apartment in California. In the 35 years since he set up the Atlantic Philanthropies Foundation, it has made $8 billion in grants to programs, people and places where it saw the chance to create opportunity and promote greater fairness and equity for all. The foundation is now winding down and is scheduled to close in 2020. However, Feeney's giving while living philosophy lives on. Bill Gates takes up the baton. Feeney's incredible generosity, his motto of giving while living, and the phenomenal achievements of the Atlantic Philanthropies Foundation is said to have inspired Bill and Melinda Gates and Warren Buffett to set up the Giving Pledge, an entity designed to encourage the world's wealthiest people to commit to spending the majority of their wealth on philanthropic causes either during their lifetimes or through their wills. So far 183 people have signed up to the Giving Pledge,